Let's pray. Father God, we want to thank you, Lord, for who you are. And God, we thank you, Lord, that you have brought us here today. And God, at this time, we drop the Father God to look to you. God, we want to give you this time to you. God, we surrender ourselves. May you speak to us. We thank you, Christ, and we pray. Amen. Before I start, let's give it up for Yejun again. Okay. Believe it or not, I'm actually really blessed because I think the best worship that we could give unto God would actually come from heart. And I really felt Yejun's heart as Yejun was worshiping God. Amen? Right? So again, during worship time, you don't need to be shy. It's okay if you're offbeat or onbeat. I'm always offbeat. But God hears your heart. So practice singing to God. Amen? Alright, if you have a Bible, please show me to Galatians. And like I said, we're going to be continuing on from the book of Galatians, chapter 2. We're going to be looking at verses 1 through 10. Before I start, again, welcome back, Isaac. He was in Vietnam for about a month, and he came back yesterday. Thursday. He came back Thursday, you don't call me? Alright, he came back Thursday, welcome back. And again, I want to thank everyone for praying for me. As you know, I was on a retreat from last Sunday night until Wednesday. I really want to thank you guys for praying for me. Retreat was actually very crazy. Let me just share a couple of the stories, things that happened. On Tuesday, so we went to a retreat center that we're actually going to be going for a college ministry as well. So on Tuesday, we drove down to the lake. And in the morning, we did bowling, and then we ate there. And then during lunchtime, we went to the lake because there's a lake there with a swing park. We go there, and as soon as we're done eating, we're about to go into the lake. We hear this lady running up to us like, "Have you seen a goggle? Have you seen a goggle?" It's just like going crazy. So I'm like, man, this lady's so rude. Where is she going? Right? And later on, we see all the lifeguards going into the water. And then within minutes, we see a helicopter coming, ambulance, fire trucks, and then we actually literally see a helicopter landing like right next to the river, right next to the lake. And what we found out was that there was actually a guy that was trying to swim across the lake. And in the beginning, we thought it was a little boy, and the lady that was running the lake, she told everyone that we had to evacuate because the boy was swimming, he drowned, they couldn't find his body. Oh, I'm echoing, I sound so holy, But anyway, so they couldn't find his body, so they're like, "Oh, so you guys are from the church?" So I was like, "Yeah, we're from the church." They said, "If you're from a church, please pray, because there's a body out there, we haven't been able to find it, it's been about 15 minutes. So they closed the park, we were there praying for the person where we would be, and then they asked us to leave. There's a bunch of lifeguards just lining up, swimming throughout the lake to look for the body. About an hour later, they did discover the body. Then I guess, I don't know if thankfully is the right word or not, but it wasn't actually a boy that drowned, but it was actually a 45-year-old man that drowned. So they recovered the body. So because of that, we couldn't swim. We came back to our cabin a little bit earlier, and we just played games there. We ate, and as we're having dinner, right, literally as we're having dinner, one of the guys comes into a room and he goes, "Fire, fire, fire!" I'm like, "What the heck?" And we're eating samgyeopsal. I'm like, "I'm gonna finish my food. I'm eating." And he goes, "No, I'm not joining this fire." So I go outside, and literally as soon as I walk out the door, maybe about like 100 yards, not even 100, maybe like 100 feet, 150 feet. There's a fire that started within the mountain. And if you've been to mountains, you see mountain fire, it gets pretty crazy, right? There's a fire pole, not a fire pole, a pole, electric pole. It caught on fire. So someone called the police, the fire department, and thankfully they came within like 5 minutes, and they told us, "You gotta evacuate." We told everyone to pack up, we're ready to go now. And then the fire chief comes like, no, it's better if you have actually stay inside. And within maybe about 10-15 minutes, they turned the fire off. So retreat was actually very crazy and eventful. And because of this, actually, I think kids actually were able to get closer to God. Another prayer request. Tomorrow, I'm leaving for another retreat. I'm speaking at Sarang retreat for Orange County. And I'm going to be back, it's going to be from Monday to Thursday. So if you could pray for me, that would be very, very helpful. Going back to the passage. We're going to be continuing on from the book of Galatians chapter 2. If you remember from Galatians chapter 1, Paul is writing to the church in Galatia, right? And where is this country now? What area of the world? Turkey, right? He's writing to people in Turkey, and one of the reasons that Paul is actually upset at them is that because there's false teaching that is going on within the church. And a few weeks ago I talked about this. Now Paul, he has to defend himself. Why? Because the false teachers over there, they're spreading rumors about Paul, saying, you know what, Paul? You're not an apostle. The message that you're preaching is not from God, but it's actually made up by you. So Paul, he defends himself. And if you remember, this is how Paul defends himself. The first thing that Paul talks about in chapter 1 is this. You know what? The gospel that I'm preaching is not made up by me. It's not made up by men. But it's actually from God himself. As I was traveling to persecute Christians, Jesus Christ himself came to me. And I got saved through him. And the message that I'm preaching is not from men, but it's from God himself. And the second thing that he said is this. You know what? The gospel that I'm preaching is actually true. And here's the evidence why this is true. The gospel that I'm preaching is true because, as you can see, there's transformation that happened within me. I used to be a persecutor of the church as people are killing Christians. Now, but because gospel message came to me, you know what? Because God came into my life, you know what? I've been saved and I'm a changed person. Now in chapter 2, he goes on to defend the gospel message and the reason why he's preaching the gospel. Deacon Peter. Should I just use the big mic? Okay. Too strong. Alright, check. 1, 2, check. Is it on? 1, 2.
It's on. Is it on?
Check. Alright, much better. Alright, so going on, Paul is defending himself. He's saying that the gospel that I'm preaching is actually legit. And there's a reason why I'm preaching the gospel. Right? And now in chapter 2, we're going to find out that Paul, he actually traveled to Jerusalem. So this is about 14 years after he got converted. If you remember, after Paul became a Christian, where did he spend the first 3 years? Arabia, good. He spent the first 3 years in the desert, getting to know the Bible, getting to know Christ better, and then he comes out, right? So it's been about 14 years since he got saved, and now he goes back to Jerusalem. And today we're going to be asking this question. Why does he go to Jerusalem? And how does the leaders in Jerusalem, how do they actually support Paul? The first thing that we're going to find out about Paul is this. The leaders of Jerusalem, they support Paul by accepting Titus. By accepting Titus, who is uncircumcised, they actually show support for Paul. So if you have your Bible, please share with me to Galatians chapter 2. We're going to be reading from verses 1 through 5. Galatians chapter 2, verses 1 through 5. Let's read it together. One voice. Alright, you guys ready? 1, 2, 3. Amen. So if you guys remember, again, Paul is writing to the church in Galatia, right? And he's saying, you know what, this is how I'm going to defend the gospel. Again, in chapter 1, we see that Paul and the gospel message has been attacked. It's been attacked by false teachers, and we know that these teachers were called Judaizers. Meaning, for them, they said, it's not Jesus Christ alone that you're saved, but you have to believe in Jesus Christ. And on top of that, you have to follow the Old Testament laws. You have to follow the tradition, you have to follow the eating habits, you follow everything that the Jewish people did. On top of that, you accept Jesus Christ, and then you become saved. So Paul is saying, no, that's not how you become saved. The only way you become saved is through when you believe that Jesus Christ is Lord and Savior, and that is it. So Paul, he continues to write, and he tells them, he says he goes back to Jerusalem, and the reason why he goes back to Jerusalem is that because he has a revelation from God. Meaning that Paul, as an apostle, he has a direct message that he hears from God. He didn't go to Jerusalem because some person told him to go, but here it says that Paul, he hears direct revelation from God. And God tells him, you know what, I want you to go to Jerusalem. And we're going to find out why he goes to Jerusalem. It's actually pretty interesting. The reason why Paul goes to Jerusalem is because within Jerusalem at this time, the leaders of the Christian church, they were all there. And there's three names that come up in terms of the leaders of the church. Who are the names? Who are the leaders of the church? It actually comes out from verses 1 through 10. Can anyone take a guess? Can anyone take a guess? Who do you think at this time were the leaders of the church? People that were influential in terms of Christian faith. Anyone? Okay, I got some names, don't be shy. James. Okay, what else? Peter, good. James, Peter, and one more. John. Good job. So James, Peter, and John, they're very respected within the church. And at this time, they established themselves as the leaders, right? People with influence within the church. So this is Paul's thinking. You know what? I'm going to go to Jerusalem where the leaders of the church are, right? There's Peter, there's John, and there's James. And this is what Peter is thinking. If I go there, and if Peter, John, and James, if they accept me, then the false teachers that are saying the message that I'm preaching is actually that message, right? They have no say in it. Why? Because the leaders of the church, if they welcome Paul, that means they welcome the message that Paul is actually preaching as well. But he doesn't just stop there, because Paul already knew that they're going to accept him, right? Paul already knew that when he goes there, the leaders of the church, they're going to say, Paul, you're one of us, we love you, you're part of us, you're also an apostle. Paul already knew that. But Paul wanted to go a step further. So who does Paul take? There's two people that I mentioned here that Paul takes them on. One of them is who? It starts with the letter B. Barnabas. Does anyone know what the name Barnabas means? Good. Encourager. Right? And if you read the books of Acts, you know that Barnabas and Paul, they go on a lot of mission trips together. So Paul, he takes a guy by the name of Barnabas who is already well respected within the church, and he takes a young pastor by the name of Titus. Okay? There's two young pastors, there's one named Timothy, there's one named Titus. But this time he takes a guy by the name of Titus. And here is why this is so important that Paul takes Titus. What do we know about Titus? A couple of things that we know about Titus is this. Titus, he is a Jew. I mean, he is not a Jew, he's a Gentile. Right? So if you remember, the false teachers at the time, and they're telling Paul, in order for you to be a Christian, you have to follow everything that's about Jewish, and then you accept Jesus Christ, and then you become Christian. Right? So if a Gentile, meaning if a non-Jewish person wants to accept Jesus Christ, they accept Jesus Christ. On top of that, they have to become Jewish. That's the idea of the teachers, false teachers at the time. But Paul was saying, you know what, I'm going to prove them wrong, and this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to take a person that I'm mentoring, a young guy by the name of Titus. He's going to go with me. And if the leaders of the church, if Paul, if Peter, James, and John, if they accept Titus, they have nothing to say. Here's why. Titus, not only was he a non-Jewish, but he was also not circumcised. Okay, think about it. Usually the teacher will say, okay, if you're not circumcised, if you want to be a Christian, you gotta get circumcised. And you guys are old enough, you gotta know what circumcision is, right? There's a thing at the end of your guy's private part, and then you cut that out, the foreskin, right? So that's what they're saying. But Paul is saying, you know what, I'm gonna bring this guy along, and he's a Gentile, meaning he never got circumcised, and if they're okay with him not being circumcised, then false teachers, they have nothing to say. Why? Because the leaders of the church, they're saying that it's okay. And obviously, when Paul goes with Barnabas and Titus, what happens? The leaders of the church, this is what they say. You know what, Paul? You're absolutely right. You know what? The message that you're preaching, you know what? We affirm it. It is the same message that we're preaching. It's the gospel message. That salvation, it comes only through faith in Jesus Christ. And it's not by faith plus other things, but it's only through faith in Jesus Christ. And you know what? Titus is okay too, right? Because he accepts Jesus Christ as his Lord and Savior. He's uncircumcised, but it's okay. Because it's not Christian, because it's not Jesus Christ, plus you have to be circumcised, but it's because Jesus Christ and Jesus Christ alone. So you know what? It's okay. And by them saying that Paul and Titus is okay, this is what they're saying. Again, salvation is only through Jesus Christ. It's not through the deeds that you do or the rituals that you do, but it's through faith in Christ alone. This is something very important. A lot of times we have this misunderstanding that we do this, right? We believe in Jesus Christ, and we have to do a lot of things on top of it. We have to believe in Jesus Christ, we have to memorize a lot of Bible passages, we have to go to retreats, we have to go on mission trips, we have to give a lot of money, then you become a Christian. No, right? All those things that I talked about, they're good things, but that's an outcome of you being a follower of Jesus Christ. So Paul is saying, in order for you to have salvation, it's actually just you receiving Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. Again, that's why he goes to Jerusalem. Why? Because he wanted to tell everyone, right, by saying, these people said that I'm okay, we are now credible, so you have nothing else to say. When I was entering into college, as you know, I was taking my SAT. And I'm sure everyone here, even though you don't go to college, I'm sure you all took SAT before. If you didn't take your SAT, I'm sure you took your SAT. Something very embarrassing, but when I took my SAT, actually when I took my SAT 2, I thought it was so easy because I took my SAT 2 on Korean. So I didn't really study, but I thought I was going to do really well. And I actually did pretty well. I missed one question, so I got 780 out of 800 points. But something that was really, really dumb on my part was this. You know when you take your SAT, they usually give you a letter saying, you know what, you gotta go to this high school or this school, and then you gotta bring this, bring that, and then bring your ID and all that stuff, right? Because I was so confident that I was gonna do really well, I actually didn't even read it. All I read was the location and the time. So I marked it on my calendar, and then when the day came, for the first time, I actually read the entire letter for my SAT on my day. From the day I woke up, right? So right before I go out for my SAT, I take out my letter and I read, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm screwed. Here's why. When you take a foreign language for SAT, this is what you have to do. I was about now, back then, you have to bring your own cassette player. If you don't know what a cassette player is, it was before CD player. It's like a small box where you open it up, and then there's a cassette player. You put the player in, you put it in, and then with your earphone, you get to listen. It kind of looks like this, okay, right? So I open up my letter in the morning, right? Maybe like 30 minutes before SAT. And it was like only like 15-minute drive, so I was like, oh shoot. I opened it up and I realized I did not have a cassette player. So I'm thinking in my head, oh my gosh, what do I do? If I don't have this, I can't even take my test. So I'm kind of screwed. So this is what I did. My dad, he actually had a bigger cassette player, right? I'll show you the picture later. So I found this big machine that looked like a boombox, and I put it into my backpack. And I actually didn't tell my dad, because if I told my dad, I know for sure that he was going to beat me up. I was like, Josh, you didn't study? Like, you didn't read your letter? So I didn't tell him anything. I just carried this big backpack with me. And they're like, oh, well. And I was like, oh, after SAT, I'm going to go play with my friends. So whatever, right? So I go, I'm taking my SAT. And in the middle of SAT, we're done with all the writing part, reading part, and then it's time for lesson. Right? At that time, everyone gets a small cassette tape, right? You get it in, you put the cassette tape in, and then you listen to it, and then you translate it. Right? So the instructor goes, all right, everyone take out your cassette tape, and everyone takes out this small Walkman, right? You take it out, and it was my turn. I open up my backpack, and this is what I take out. It's a machine, right? I had it on top of my desk, and the instructor comes like, hey, I'm really sorry, but you can't take the test. And I was like, no, please. If I don't take it, I'm gonna get in trouble. You have to please let me take it. And I was literally begging with him, and all the kids were like looking at me like, oh man, you're so stupid. Who brings this big machine to, take the SAT? So it's actually like, begging. I was like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna let you take it. We can't have it on the desk because we're gonna bother everyone. So go to the back, and then he had me sit on the big table with this big machine, and I was actually able to take this test. But if you think about it, why do people take SAT or ACT? Here's why. Whenever you go to a college or a university, right, there's like the entrance test or a test that is standardized by everyone. Meaning, if you do well here, we're gonna approve you as well, right? So they're saying, the testing that you take is actually legit. That's why the grading that you get, we're gonna accept it into this college and that college, right? So again, this was a similar idea for Paul. When the leaders of Jerusalem, they said, Paul, you're okay, and Titus, you're okay. In a way, this is what they're saying to the entire church. They're saying, okay, again, the message that Paul is preaching, the gospel message that he's preaching, is actually legit. It comes from God. And by the leaders saying, Titus, you're okay. You don't need to get circumcised. they're also sending another message. And the message that they're sending out was this. Again, in order for you to become a Christian, it's through salvation and it's through faith alone in Jesus Christ. It's not through faith plus the work that you do or the culture that you have, but it's only through faith alone. So here's a couple things I need to know. Alright, so what does the gospel message actually mean? And what kind of freedom does it give? The first thing that we need to realize is this. When we receive Jesus Christ as the Lord and Savior, how are we free? The gospel message leads us to also cultural freedom. Meaning, think about this. If your salvation depends on the rules that you know, or the rituals that you know, then ultimately, this is what he's saying. Salvation, it depends on you. Because you're doing it, or you're not doing this, or you belong to a certain group, or you don't. But thankfully, the gospel message is this, right? It is through faith alone in Jesus Christ. But if it was cultural, it would do this. If the gospel message had to be cultural, then it means every single one of us in this room, if you're Asian, if you're Korean, then you can't become a Christian. If you are Caucasian, then you can't become a Christian. Why? Because the false teacher at that time, this is what they're saying. In order for you to be a Christian, right, you have to be a Korean, but not only that, if you accept Jesus Christ as a Korean, you need to forget your Korean heritage, and you also have to become a Jewish, and then you become a Christian, right? So, by us becoming a Christian, what Paul is saying this, you're also free from your cultural, sense. And another thing that we get free from is the emotional freedom. If you believe that our relationship with God is based on keeping moral behavior, then think about this. You're going to have endless guilt and you're going to have endless insecurity. But thankfully, right, this is not how we receive Jesus Christ. When we receive Jesus Christ as the Lord and Savior, right, we no longer have this guilt and shame. Why? Again, it's not about doing, it's not about knowing, but it's about your relationship with Jesus Christ. Second thing that Paul talks about is this. How else did the leaders of Jerusalem, how did they support Paul? The second thing that Paul goes on to talk about is this. When Paul went there, by them approving Paul's calling, they also accepted him. By accepting Paul's calling to go to the Gentiles and share the gospel message, they also showed support for Paul. We're going to continue reading from verse 6 through 10. You guys ready? Let's read together. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Verse 7. Amen. Now Paul goes on to talk about the calling that they have. Now Paul goes on to say this. For Paul and the leaders in Jerusalem, they had the same calling. Right? Their calling was the same thing. Meaning Paul, James, Peter, and John, their calling in life was to share the gospel message. That everywhere they go, or no matter where they go, that they will preach the gospel message. But Paul goes on to say this. But their calling in life, even though their ultimate calling was to share the gospel message, but their calling, even though it was the same thing, if you had to cut it down, it was actually a little bit different. Why? Because the way that they shared the message, the target group, was actually different. For Peter, his main focus in terms of sharing the gospel message was to the Jewish people. For Paul, he had a burden to go and share the gospel message, not to the Jews, but for the Gentiles. So think about it. For Peter and Paul, they had the same message. They wanted to go out and share the gospel message to the people that Jesus Christ is Lord, and that the only way you receive salvation is through Jesus Christ. But for Peter, his target group was different. His calling was different. Peter wanted to go out to the Jewish people, and for the Jewish people, he wanted to go and tell them, you know what? The Messiah that you've been waiting for thousands and thousands of years, he is finally here. His name is Jesus Christ. If you accept him as your Lord and Savior, you will receive salvation. But for Paul, it was a little bit different. Again, Paul, he wanted to share the same message about Jesus Christ. But for Paul, he didn't want to go share to the Jewish people, but he wanted to go and share to the non-Jewish people by saying, you know what? If you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, you will be saved. Again, Paul's focus was to go to the Gentiles and share the gospel message. For Peter, he wanted to go and share the gospel message to the Jewish people. But if you think about it, again, their main idea, their idea in sharing the gospel message, the big picture, it was the same thing. That's why they gave Paul the right hand of fellowship. Right? What does the right hand of fellowship mean? It means that they approve what Paul was doing. They said, Paul, I understand that your heart is for the Gentile people. And Peter was like, you know what, my heart is for the Jewish people, but that's fine. Why? Because our big hearts, our main thing is to go and share the gospel message to the people around us. But ultimately, this is what they taught. Paul, you know what? Again, our main thing is to go and share the gospel message. But don't forget that another goal that we need to do is take care of the Paul. And at the end, as Paul is writing, he says, you know what? I totally agree with you. But the most important thing that we do is to share the gospel message. And just like what you said, I am doing my best in terms of sharing and loving the poor. Okay, so think about this. If we play on the same football team, let's say we're all playing together for the Rams, right? Our goal as a team will be this. Our goal as a team will be to win whoever we're playing. If we're playing the 49ers, we will win. If we're playing Seahawks, our goal is to win. If we're playing the Cowboys, our goal will be to win. But even within the team, we have a different focus, right? If you're an offense, your goal as an offensive player is to score as many points as you can. If you're on the defensive team, right, your goal is also to win. But what is your target? Your target is to not allow the other team to score, right? You want to make sure they don't score. But even within offense and defense, there's different roles that you play, right? Your role could be to throw the ball, or your role could be to catch the ball, or your role could be to block, or in defense, it could be to catch the QB, or run around, get the person to catch the ball, right? But again, our big goal is to share the gospel. Again, what Paul is trying to say is this: as Christians, right, we have the same calling. And our calling, no matter who we are, is to share the gospel message of Jesus Christ. But at the same time, I want you to realize that does not necessarily mean the same thing for every single one of us. Right? Let me give you an example. For some of us in this room, our calling this summer is to go out and share the gospel message, right? That's why Isaac came back from Vietnam. That's why Gideon's in Cambodia right now. That's why Andrew's in Japan. That's why Yejun will be going to Korea and Japan. That's why my team for Kenneth, Isaac, and Benjamin, we're going to be going to Thailand. Why? Because again, our hearts, right, we want to obey, we want to go out and share the gospel message. But for this summer, how does that look like? It looks like this. It looks like that we go to a different country and we share the gospel message. But what about the rest of you guys that are staying here in LA? Does that mean that you don't share the gospel message? Of course not. It also means that even if you stay here in LA, that you are to share the gospel message. And obviously, that's going to look somehow different than people that are actually going. Right? How can that look like? How could that look like for you? Maybe it means that while you're at school, that you're being faithful to your study, and every opportunity you get, you go out and you talk to someone that's alone and you share the gospel message. Or it could be that you're working, and as a person that's working, every time you get, as you listen to your coworker that they share their burden with you, you know what? You give them your ear, and not only that, but as you share it and as you give advice, you give godly advice that will ultimately point people to you. Or it may be that you're at home and you're sharing the gospel message to the people around you, to your parents. Again, for Paul, you know what? He was being attacked, and to defend himself, he goes to Jerusalem. And when he goes to Jerusalem, the leaders of the church, they accept Paul. And the way that they accept Paul is this. They say, Paul, you know what? We accept you. Meaning, the gospel message that you're preaching, you know what? We're okay with it. So everyone else, they're going to be okay with it. Not only that, you brought Timothy with you, you brought Titus with you. And you know what? Even though Titus is not circumcised, that's okay. So when people heard this, they said, oh, they understood. That again, salvation is not by works. Salvation is not by ritual that you do. And salvation is only comes through faith in Jesus Christ. And second thing that Paul does is this. As he goes to Jerusalem people, they approve the calling that he has. Right? By doing this, they say this. Okay, Paul. Yes, our main thing that we need to do is share the gospel message wherever we are. But again, that's kind of look differently. For us, we're going to go to the Jewish people, but for you, you have to go out and share the gospel message to the Gentile people. This week, I really want to challenge you guys. Right? How does that look like for you? How does that look like for you? I know a lot of you guys are enjoying your summer break, and maybe some of you guys have summer school, right? But don't let that be an excuse. Every opportunity that you have, you should be able to share the gospel message. Right? Think about it. Right? Honestly, ask yourself, when was the last time I shared the gospel message to people around me? Right? And sharing the gospel message, yeah, it could be like, hey, do you go to church? I go to church too. Yes, that could be it. But when was the last time you actually sat down with your friend or a stranger or even your family member and you told them, you know what, this is why I love Jesus Christ. This is what Christ did for me. This is why I became a changed person. Well, when was the last time they looked at you and they said, wow, you know what, I've been noticing that the way that you respond to hard situations or the way that you have joy in your face, you know what, I've been wondering, why are you so different? When was the last time that people around you, they noticed that something about you was different? If not, again, I really want to challenge you. Right? Maybe that's because we're not really living the life that God has called us to live. Again, I challenge you that this week that you go out and that whatever calling that God may have given you. Again, calling for us is all the same. We are to go out and share the gospel message to whoever people, whoever. But again, how we do that will look differently to every single one. I pray that you'll be obedient to God and that you'll be able to share. Amen? Let's pray. Father God, we come before you and God, we want to thank you, Lord, for who you are. God, we thank you again, God, for your faithfulness. And God, we pray, Father God, that you'll really help us, God, to go out and share the message of Christ to the people around us, wherever we go. And God, especially this week, God, we pray, Father God, for opportunities. God, we pray, Lord, that you'll help us, Father God, to meet people. And not only to meet people, but Lord, as we meet them, God, would you help us, Father God, to open up our mouth and to really, God, share your love to the people around us. God, again, we want to thank you, Lord, for all that you do. God, we love you. And in Christ's name we pray. Amen. All right, at this time, we're going to go into our small group, our accountability group. And the names are up here. But if you don't have a group and you want to get a group, come see me. And today is the last day you can sign up. And after we do this, we'll clean up and we'll go out to you together. Where are you going? Get it later. Accountability group.
Struggling. I don't know why the sound. What's up with? Can I see it?
It's working okay, fantastic, man.
I know. So can I see it? I don't know.
Oh, it's on the top. Alright, go to your group. If you need a group, let me know.
something weird.
Days. Oh, okay. So, what do you want to do? So, watching you get that.
하습. 하습.
Video. Whoa. Is this a private question? Is this supposed to be
You want to join today?
Hello. Yes, works good. That's Jacob's voice. Wasn't messing everything up.
Plan.
Check. One on the street.
What's it? You're joining finally.
It's not bad for $20.
You want John now? Well, I guess like you're running grade. What kind of work do you do? Shipyard? Shipyard. Wow. Okay. Alright. Do you want what does that mean? Because everyone has 24 hours. When you say I was just chilling, you must be doing something to film. You know, stay cool.
Okay. You have Kevin's phone number? I do. Can I get it? Okay.